Starting Pilates as a plus size girly was trippy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new and you're a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. My name is Elle, and I'm chronicling my journey to the bikini fitness stage via 75 Hard and also via Pilates. And I wanted to do this video because I was thinking recently, this week I mark 100 days straight of mat Pilates. And I wanted to celebrate with you all, but also reflect on like the 5 things that saved me these 100 days. I started Pilates during 75 Hard. So I chose to continue doing Pilates when the round 1 of 75 Hard ended. When it ended, I chose to continue doing mat Pilates. And if I hadn't have done these things in addition to mat Pilates, I probably wouldn't have had, in my opinion, such an amazing experience with mat Pilates. I have also incorporated reformer Pilates into my workout schedule. So let's get into it. The first thing I think saved me during my intro to mat Pilates, I had been doing wall Pilates prior to taking on mat, and I think that was awesome. That really helped me kind of get oriented and get an understanding of the movements I was going to be doing in mat Pilates. So I started with wall Pilates, and that was a great intro. I also thought my strength workouts and my cardio workouts were able to transfer over and help me during my mat Pilates workouts. My mat Pilates workouts can be as short as 20 minutes, or it can go into a full hour. And I've been able to incorporate the strength I've garnered in the squat rack with the dumbbells and the endurance I've gotten on my walks, my speed walks and my jogs. And I also do plyo. All that has helped me. So I started doing 75 Hard with mat Pilates at 222 pounds. Currently, I sit in like the mid 170s. I'm sharing that with you so you can understand, if I had just done mat Pilates, I wouldn't be where I am now. I didn't really ever see mat Pilates as like something that was gonna make me lose the weight. I saw it as something that would help me strengthen my core, because I tend to carry a lot of weight and a lot of my fat in my abdomen section, and I don't have a very strong core as a side effect, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. So I wanted to strengthen my core, and mat Pilates did that. So, and has done that and will continue to do that. So that's one thing. One thing that saved me were all the workouts that prepared me for mat Pilates. Number 2, I chose to invest in, I guess you can say, a specific wardrobe for Pilates. I was fortunate enough to be able to do so. Pilates is demanding and asks a lot from your body while you're in certain physical positions. And I wanted to feel more secure because I am, and while I don't think I'm a very busty person, I do have the girls. they're here. And as someone who, for example, I wear compressive bras when I run, when I jog, I don't enjoy feeling the movement. I am sensitive to it. I decided I also didn't want anything to feel insecure, any of my body parts to feel insecure doing roll-ups, doing bridges, doing, hundreds, doing any moves on the reformer. I wanted to feel secure. So I invested in compressive leggings. I invested in compressive sports bras. I enjoy doing Pilates in muscle tanks. So I've had to search far and wide for compressive, not always compressive, but muscle tanks that fit me and fall where I want things to fall. So I remember seeing one influencer talking about how she doesn't have a separate wardrobe for Pilates. But then I also looked at that particular influencer and she is on the thinner end of things. So of course you don't have a separate wardrobe because you don't know how it is to be in a bigger body doing Pilates. And that's through no fault of her own and no shade at all. But I see there's a disconnect between understanding what women who are doing Pilates as plus size, mid size, what our concerns might be with our bodies versus if you're not in those types of bodies. So for me, I thought a separate wardrobe was helpful. Sure, some of the tops I run in, some of the tops I jog in, I can also put on if I'm not, if I'm feeling a little particularly lazy at the moment and put it on, do a Pilates session. Sure, I can do that. But, like I said, when I'm doing my planking, and there's different variety of planks and there's side planks, I want to make sure that the bra I have underneath is compressive and I'm not distracted. So Pilates does demand attention from you because you're doing a lot of slow, precise movements and you don't want to be injured. The number 3 thing that saved me during Pilates when I started as a plus size girly was that I gave myself permission to take up space. I was very protective with my Pilates sessions. I do them at home and I was very religious, for lack of a better word, about getting them done, making sure I left enough time between my mat Pilates session and my reformer Pilates session so my body can breathe a little bit, can recoup, can reset, because like I said, Pilates is demanding. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to rush from, I did that once, I rushed from the treadmill to the mat, from the treadmill to the reformer, and I just stacked too much on my body and I tweaked the hip flexor and I was fine, but you don't want to go from one modality to the next quickly. You want to give your body a little bit of a break to just recenter and recoup and reset and just kind of recalibrate itself. So I've been really dedicated about my Pilates start time, my Pilates end time, making sure I'm able to fit it in and letting people know, I have to head back. I have my Pilates class, I have my Pilates session. Can I talk to you later? And that's been, it's not the norm for me. I'm kind of a little bit drop everything for others, or at least I used to be. But now I'm a little more protective and I like that. So that's awesome. The 4th thing that saved me was giving, I think it's related to number 3, but giving myself the space to, one thing that has helped me so much was giving myself space to understand I want to improve and letting the improvements take up space, if that makes sense. So like the other day I was doing reverse lunges, and I've struggled with reverse lunges. I don't know if it's the fact that my legs are moving backwards and I can't really see them, but I would struggle with like the balance, and I could always feel myself going, from side to side. And I did not do that this time. I was just like, I started doing my reverse lunges, and I found myself, I'm like, wait a sec. I usually am like, to the side, and I did them straight back. It was like one leg back, and came back forward. Then, let's go again and again. And I was just like keeping my balance. So allowing myself to have that moment and have that celebration and that little like win for me, that's been amazing. So, letting myself, like I said, letting myself have the space and the time to do the Pilates, and then also giving myself the space to not only improve with like mechanics and see it work out and play out in other exercises, but also celebrating those wins. And which, again, like I said, I'm kind of like, I've always celebrated others very easily, made room for others, but I'm not a big celebrator of like myself. But I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like my balance, my core is getting stronger, that I can do reverse lunges, do them relatively quickly, and I don't feel like I'm falling or I'm like out of balance. And that's been great. And the fifth one I wanted to touch on that I think saved me. And again, I know I'm fortunate. I was able to have a dedicated space where I can do my Pilates practice. And I alluded to this in another video. But I can't always say it enough what a game changer it is. Like, when I knew I was gonna, my Pilates appointment was coming up, my Pilates session, I knew I was gonna do it at 7. Like, I had a little space carved out to do it, to roll out my mat, to set up my mirror so I can check my form, a place that holds my props, because I love doing Pilates sessions and working out with different types of equipment. So I have my bala beans, I have my weights, I have my Pilates ball, I have my Pilates ring. Like, having all that organized was such a game changer. And also, I guess in the same vein, like having my split organized. Like, today I'm doing full body, tomorrow I'm gonna focus on quads and glutes. The day after, I'm gonna take it easy and just do body weight. So the next day I'm gonna be using the ring, for example. So that's having everything organized in one space, knowing that that space is protected, knowing that space is for my Pilates practice. That's really helped kind of motivate me to continue. In that area, I know sometimes we can be tight on space and everything gets rolled up or gets pushed under the bed. I have stuff under my bed that's not related to the Pilates practice right now, but you want to make things convenient, and I wanted to make Pilates convenient for me. I had been trying to strengthen my core, trying to get a slimmer waist. My abdomen, my belly fat has been something that has plagued me for most of my existence, and I was just so frustrated that I needed to get it together in that area. And I'm so grateful that having a Pilates practice is part of that, and I'll do a separate video here about how I wrapped up the 75 hard challenge and the changes I've seen everywhere in my body, including my belly. That's coming your way this week, I promise. But those 5 things have really saved me, saved my Pilates practice, allowed me to continue. Some days I think I mentioned, I do Pilates I'm finally fitting it in at like 9:30, and I don't wrap up until like 10:30 or something, you know, and that's fine. That works for my schedule. I know not everyone has that ability, but Pilates is important to me. And one more last thing that I didn't mention before that saved me during Pilates when I started as a plus size girl was I couldn't care less what anyone had to say about anything. Yes, I started doing Pilates at home. But I could very easily, we have a Club Pilates like 2 blocks down, and I could very easily go there. My size when I started at 222 did not define me. It did not. I wanted to start Pilates, so hence I started Pilates. I give myself permission. No one gives me permission. I give myself permission. And at 222, I was not holding planks long. I sustained a shoulder injury that kind of worsened in the beginning of 75 hard, not in the gym. Ironically, I never get hurt in the gym. I get hurt like when I walk my dog and when I sleep on one side too much, which is one of the case with my shoulder. I used to sleep on my right side a lot. So I got a shoulder impingement, which is like a rotator cuff like irritation. And it was really harsh. But I kept it going. No one is the boss of me. When I decide I want to start Pilates, I start Pilates. So I think sometimes we get bombarded. At least I sometimes feel that the sentiment is a certain message that only a certain type of female does Pilates, and that's very far from the truth. Everybody can do Pilates. Anybody can do Pilates, no matter what body you're in. And if you want to have that as part of your daily practice, as part of your 3 to 5 times a week practice, you can do it. So that was one thing I gave myself. I gave myself permission to start it, to get a reformer. Never having tried a reformer, I got a reformer for my home. I got myself a couple of mats. I got myself the props. I decided who I was gonna start taking classes with. I decided on what areas I wanted to work on. I wanted to work on, body weight. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to be stronger. So I think sometimes we overthink things is what I'm trying to say. Don't overthink Pilates. If you want to start, if you want to try it, you can try it and decide you don't like it. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I started it. I didn't think I would love it. Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to fall in love. We don't just fall in love with people. We can fall in love with fitness. We can fall in love with different modalities. Some people want to run. Let them run. Some people want to fall in love with the squat rack. Let them do it. And some people want to fall in love with Pilates. Let them do it. But you don't need permission to start it. If you want to start it, start it. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.